The primary purpose of an automobile is generally to transport human cargo from point A to point B. Nevertheless, a vehicle also has towing and hauling capabilities. And this is where we're going to discuss the difference between purchasing a car for yourself and hiring a vehicle through ride sharing, rather Uber or Lyft, that belongs to someone else. What up, folks? Once again, it is your boy Tim with another ride sharing video. Now, any of my veteran drivers, anyone that has been driving in ride sharing for even a short period of time has undoubtedly had passengers that ask them to haul something else in addition to just human cargo. And there has to be a line, has to be a point where most drivers simply say, I am not putting that shit in my vehicle. Today, we are going to discuss the shit that some of us do not want in our vehicles. So, obviously, there's going to be the typical cargo that many of us do not necessarily oppose. Picking up someone from, say, Walmart or a grocery store. They're going to put bags of groceries in your vehicle. That's undoubtedly going to happen with every driver in every market. You're going to pick someone up that has been grocery shopping. Same thing applies to laundry. Now, I'm not a big fan of laundry. Nevertheless, if you operate in a market, particularly those with lower income customers who do not have their own washing and drying facilities in their own dwelling, they're going to use your vehicle to have you take them to a laundromat. Not totally opposed to that either. However, I have had a few pennies left in the back of my vehicle. And I didn't want to get into the streak mark portion of that conversation. Nevertheless, laundry and grocery is not necessarily outside of the scope that many of us drivers would have an issue with. But we're going to get darker with this. So probably the next issue, we're talking about passengers that are relocating. For yours truly, this is where it begins to be, no, I will not transport that. When you start getting passengers that are relocating from one dwelling to another one, and you pull up and their lawn is loaded with boxes that they intend to put in your vehicle, oftentimes loading your vehicle up completely. I've had passengers try to load the vehicle up where simply looking into the rearview mirror and seeing what's behind me was a challenge because they had so many damn boxes, which is why I'm coming to you with this video and why I decided I will no longer take passengers who are using my vehicle to relocate to another location. I want to ask you folks out there, have you had a passenger use your vehicle to try to move? I'm not a fan of it from the simple aspect of it takes a hell of a long time to load all that shit in a vehicle. It's not uncommon for passengers to expect you to assist them. And we know in rideshare and driving for both Uber and Lyft, tips are fairly rare. Even when you go above and beyond, do extra shit, it's not uncommon for a passenger to simply say thanks. At the end of the day, how many of you can use the word thanks to pay any of your bills? So I'm not a fan of really dealing with any type of cargo where it's common for the passenger to expect the driver to get out of the vehicle and assist them in loading. So certainly not helping with moving. Hire a damn U-Haul. Next, a lot of these major metropolitan areas now have ride-sharing scooters and e-bikes. That has become a very popular method of transportation. Well, a lot of folks, such as yours truly, have went out and purchased their own bikes, e-bikes and scooters and things like that. Had a passenger have the batteries on their device run out, hired a ride-share and tried to load a scooter into my damn vehicle. That is an absolute no-no. Once again, not only do bikes and scooters have tires that could contain mud and all sorts of other shit from outside that's going to be put in your vehicle, and yet I have yet to this day ever heard of a passenger vacuuming out a vehicle after leaving a bunch of residue behind. So certainly not going to let a passenger put anything with wheels that are rolling around outside in my vehicle, on my seats. I'm not even a big fan of wheelchairs and things like that because they do bring in mud and debris, and that is on you to clean up. But a full bike or an e-scooter is an absolute no-no. Had a passenger, like I said, if it folded up, it would have slid in across the back seats without an issue. And then the passenger simply wanted to sit up front, and we take this device and the passenger home. Scooter probably weighs about 50, 60 pounds, which means it could certainly leave depressions in your seats because it's a heavy device. I said no. Passenger wasn't happy, whatever the case may be, but I don't put mechanized devices on my seats like that. I'd love to hear how you guys feel about that. Also, when it comes to bikes, scooters, and other heavy metal items, the chance of scratching your vehicle, whether scratching the metal doors and things like that while transporting it in or out of the vehicle, or simply putting damage on the seats, inside the upholstery and all of that, you certainly run risk for all of that happening. And most Uber and Lyft passengers are not dependable to cover any damages they do. So I'm just not a fan of even letting this shit in my vehicle to begin with. Have you ever had a passenger try to put a bike in your vehicle? Now, trunk, or if you have a hatchback, an SUV, whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter which one, because even putting a bike in the trunk can also cause scratches all around your vehicle. I'm just not a fan of it, but let me know in the comments what you folks think. Another one. Now, earlier I mentioned moving. I'm not a fan of putting a bunch of boxes in my vehicle while folks are moving. Well, I've had a passenger try to put a damn dresser in the trunk of the vehicle. Well, you can use bungee cords and tie it down, or I can give you some kind of string to have the trunk halfway propped open. Fuck that. This is not Sanford and Son, but I want to know from you folks. Have you had a passenger try to put something in your vehicle, maybe on top? Had somebody try to put a flat screen TV on top of the vehicle. Pick them up at Best Buy, big ass 65-inch TV that will not fit in the vehicle. Asked if they could strap it on top. I know some of this sounds wacky. If you don't deal with ride sharing and you happen to be a passenger watching this, you may even think it's far-fetched or even made up. Look at the comments. Veteran drivers, have you had folks ask to put shit in your car that shouldn't be asking to put that shit in your car? It's happened to all of us. Veteran driver, yours truly, been driving off and on since 2014. I'm just going to make it clear. I've seen all kinds of shit, had all kinds of requests. That is the reason I'm doing the damn videos to begin with, is people ask for too much wow shit to the point where you just really have to shake your head. It's not fun to tell a passenger who is in desperate need or really, eager to move something from point A to point B that you're not going to do it. But nevertheless, this is called a ride-sharing business. This is for human transport. You can take this too damn far. Couple bags of groceries, okay. A couple bags of laundry, okay. But we're not trying to move your home to a different location. We're not a U-Haul. We're not a freight truck. We're just simply not in the business to do that. And what's happening is you're having passengers try to use us to circumvent more expensive transport services at the behest of the driver, including ambulances. A hell of a lot of passengers try to use us to even circumvent medical transport vehicles. And that's just not our job. We're not supposed to go to these other insane levels. And drivers like myself that have seen it all, I just refuse to do so. Another one I've had, plants. Passenger is moving from point A to point B or something of that nature, and they want to get in your vehicle with a big ass plant, potted plant. Generally not necessarily bad, but obviously a plant has dirt and things like that in there. I'm speaking from experience. It actually happened. Had to take the car out of service for a little bit and vacuum up dirt that was left on the floor wheels of the vehicle. All of this stuff actually happens to drivers. There is no manual that Uber or Lyft gives the passengers in their terms of service that tells them you can't transport this, or this. Now, us drivers, for instance, They don't even want us being able to protect ourselves. So mace and knives and guns and things like that are off limits. I don't even know if they tell the passengers that. You know, it's just insane that they literally leave us open to be somewhat of a servant of sort to passengers. And we're just expected to do all of that. But continuing on, another one, and I understand this one can indeed violate the terms of service as a driver with both Uber and Lyft. I'm not a fan of animals in the vehicle. I just do not entertain it. I understand as service animals, there can be support animals and things like that, up to and including where the law may require you to transport animals along with your passenger. There's a lot of safety issues. First of all, as a driver, you don't know how much control your passenger has over their animal. There's animals that get out of the control of their owners all the damn time. Also, it's not uncommon to have owners that think that it is cute for their animal to jump up and lick on people. I'm not a fan of any of that, particularly while operating a motor vehicle. I mean, the whole thing is just damn dangerous. I just don't do it. So if I can avoid putting animals in a vehicle, I do at all costs. Primary way of doing that is when you're driving to a customer, when you pull up, if you see an animal, cancel the trip and drive off. Doesn't give the customer really any avenue to complain because they never got in your vehicle. They can't claim that you denied them because of an animal because you didn't say shit to them. If you got your mouth and your wits on you, don't say anything. You see something you don't like when you pull up to the curb, like I mentioned, a bunch of moving boxes, somebody standing there with a big-ass Huffy 26-inch bike. If you see something you don't like, just cancel the trip and drive off. Don't say anything. That way, when they call and voice any kind of complaint, if they do, it's based on allegations. I didn't say anything to them. My engine light came on. I had to take my vehicle in for service. I had to shit. I drove off because I had to go take a piss. Whatever you got to come up with. But if you just simply cancel the trip and drive off, no one is none the wiser. Last but not least, case of leftovers. Picked up someone from a wedding or reception or whatever the hell it was, wanted to get in the vehicle, these big ass tin aluminum foil pan containers. I don't know what was in it, but you could see them wiping shit that was leaking out the side. I don't know, could have been collard greens, dressing. I don't know what was served at the reception, but they're bringing this big ass tin foil pan in the vehicle. Once again, this leaves room for spillages and all types of stuff like that. You make a sharp turn, you hit the brakes. You don't know what's in that tin. So if it's liquid or something, it's just things like this where you as a driver have to step up and protect your vehicle, because at the end of the day, they're just going to get out. If there's spills, or if there is animal fur or animal scratches your back seat or something like that, the passenger is just going to get out, potentially say thank you for the trip, and all the rest of that is on you. How many of us drivers have found damage to our vehicle down the road and didn't even know which passenger did it? I mean, passengers are not going to tell you when they're tearing your shit up. So it's up to you to try to limit folks from doing things that are clear red flags that can lead to damage to begin with. Nevertheless, I wanted to run this by you because just today, like I stated, I drove off on somebody because there's certain cargo I don't take. And the minute I've seen it, I'm out. I'm not going to let you put a bike in my car. Are you fucking crazy? Have you had someone try to put something in your vehicle where you just flat out told them no? Or for my nice drivers who like to go above and beyond seeking tips, wanting to make sure you have a stellar rating, 5.0 rating, have you let someone take your kindness for granted, put something in your vehicle, and then all of a sudden you had scratches or maybe spills or stains or ripped up seats because you were kind? Let me know in the comments. As always, this is the type of stuff that can help new and prospective drivers, because anyone looking to be a rideshare driver, whether with Uber or Lyft, this is the kind of shit that is going to be in your future. So in the comments, let us know. Veteran drivers indeed. As always, it's your boy Tim. Subscribe to the damn channel, and I'll see you in the next video.